the next one, eat next, the next one, eat next, the next one, eat down!
Brought to you by Hot Comics and Collectibles with Playbook Studios.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Next 20 Now. As always, on my right is Mr. Michael Harmon.
Yeah, but who are you?
Who am I? I am Joseph Courtney.
There you go.
I think most of the audience already knew that.
Forgive me. I
you are forgiven.
I should have assumed.
But the most important person in this room is the person on my left, Mr. Brent Schoonover.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming out. It's
Yeah.
great to have you. He is here promoting his new OGN, original graphic novel, The Captain America, The Ghost Army.
It's true.
Stay tuned through this whole episode. We will be giving away, was it the first chapter?
Yeah, it's a chapter preview book that Scholastic was nice enough to send me. So.
And Brent was nice enough to personally sign. So you will get signed copies.
Awesome.
Throughout the episode, we will be giving out random trivia and other tasks. And to start it off, why don't we just have some fun? And the first person to subscribe, just smash that subscribe button. And the first one to do that will get
Signed
Captain
copy.
America, Ghost Army, signed by Mr. Brent Schoonover. So as always, we do comic reviews. This time we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to review one new comic and one old comic, and both Michael and I will be reviewing each one.
Well, but we did that before, so the
No,
difference
you would do
is
a
that-
different one.
Yeah, but
We'd each
now
do
we're
our
both
own.
doing the same.
We're
is
doing
the-
the same, but it's
that's
one
the key.
total.
Yes,
one total, not
total.
two total. So anyway, this week's is Calico. Here Comes Calico by Sigma Comics. All the money raised of sales goes to the prevention of animal abuse. I enjoyed the book more than Michael did.
I did not enjoy the book.
I admit it starts out very, very preachy, very angsty. It reminds me of stuff I wrote in high school.
High school?
High school.
No, it reminds it's like it was written by a 9-year-old.
No, it was not a 9-year-old.
It's exactly.
So basically, Calico is a man with he's a boxer, and I'm pretty certain that the writer of this book is also a boxer.
I think he identifies as a boxer first and a man second.
Most likely, his pronouns are boxer, and that is it.
Yep.
Anyhow, he hates animal abuse to the point where he goes around killing animal abusers. Now, it's not too consistent.
Can we elaborate and say that he doesn't just kill animal abusers?
He delivers some poetic
he tortures
justice.
them to death.
There's subsequent issues. He gives some very poetic justice. This one landlord, he kicks his dog to where it breaks his leg. Well, guess who's now suddenly missing a leg? See, he wasn't tortured to death.
Well, okay. Is there any more to it though? Like, I only read the first issue. Does he grow as a character? Do we learn why he hates animal abuse so much?
There's all these flashbacks to his childhood, and there was this
Okay.
rich bully who duct taped a cat to a skateboard and sent him down a hill. And
We've all been there.
Yes, throw a dead cat on the railroad tracks. But we haven't gotten to see where that's going to lead to yet.
Yeah.
Another book that was pretty good from a much earlier era, I believe it was 1983, was The A-Team. Mm-hmm. I believe you two have more personal memories of the A-Team than I personally do. I've got questions with it that I'm hoping you two might be able to answer.
All right. Or maybe the audience can answer them before us. And
Well, not before, only
get
if
a
you two
giveaway.
can't. So,
okay.
question one,
yeah.
my conception before reading this book was that Mr. T was Mr. T in this show.
That was the name he went by in the show.
Yeah, so B.A. Baracus was a new
Baracus,
name to me. Baracus.
Baracus,
Okay.
yeah.
What did I say? Baracus?
Baracus.
Oh, yeah, another word I've never heard pronounced out
And
loud.
I don't think you ever heard what BA stood for.
Bare-ass beach.
What's that?
Bare-ass beach.
No, I thought it
No.
was badass.
It's bad attitude.
Bad attitude.
Badass isn't family friendly enough
sorry.
for Mr. T. So it's
So my question to you guys is, what was Mr. T before the A-Team?
Bouncer, I
Yeah,
think.
he was a bouncer.
Was he
in Chicago.
famous? Was he like?
He became like an anti-drug personality. Like I think locally maybe.
Yeah. Then Nancy
like,
Reagan got her
Yep.
paws on him.
Right, right. Like he was a public figure
Mm-hmm.
before, and was Clubber Lang pre A-Team?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was
I
pre-18.
think it was. So
Yep.
he's in Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Mr. T's in Rocky
prior
3?
prior to the A-Team.
Clubber
What is his
Yeah.
real name?
Mr. T?
Yes.
That's what his mama named him, Mr. T.
It's Mr. T.
First name Mr., last name T.
Yep.
All right, audience. Here is your chance for the second autographed copy of Captain America: The Ghost Army, first chapter, ash can, signed by Mr. Brent Schoonover. What is Mr. T's What is Mr. T's legal name? Not his first name, his full legal name.
All right.
The book was okay. I think you enjoyed it more than I did.
Yeah, we kind of flip-flopped on these two. You really liked Calico.
I'm
a
not gonna
lot.
say really
No,
liked
I'm
it.
pretty sure you really
You
liked
loved
it.
it.
Like
You loved it.
Compared to you,
it's-
yes, but I liked it. I enjoyed Calico. I wanted to finish as to where I feel you never want to read it again.
I might just to see where it goes and.
Did you get a chance to read the 18?
I didn't get a chance to. I kind of went through the first 3 issues. I kind of because I've had them since I was a kid. When I was young, my mom and dad got me this like awesome Marvel Comics starter set that came with like a pull box, and it had this awesome Arthur Adams art on it and stuff. And one of the 3 books that were in, like I think they gave you like 25 to 50 free comics in it too, was the A-Team miniseries and stuff. And I was a huge fan of the A-Team. Like me and my dad would watch it like every night it was on. And so I just, I thought it was great. The books haven't aged so great, but that's okay. The art's, it's just totally like one of those like IP properties that Marvel had in the early 80s. Like it looks like the later Indiana Jones books. It looks like the later Star Wars books that they had. It was just kind of like that Marvel House style, Marvel House writing. Very easy, soup to nuts kind of. But yeah, I mean, I remember bringing those like, I remember reading them during my brother's karate class. That's one of my favorite memories. Is
Dude, that is the most 80s thing I think you possibly could have said.
Reading 18 comics while your brother's in karate class. So, yep.
Learning the drop kick, and you're just watching him drop kick some ass.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I give the 18 comics a thumbs up. I'm a big fan, and I wish they were more than 3 issues. So.
I just recently learned it was only 3 issues.
Yeah, the second
despite how
issue
long
is
I've worked here.
way better. It's of the 3, it's the best because B.A. Baracus gets in a sumo wrestling competition and he wins. Spoiler alert.
So last time Mike gave me the movie Times Square to review. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this one. I'll admit I liked it a bit more than I was expecting. It's about these 2 runaway chicks. Well, one of them's genuinely homeless. The other one runs away. They somehow stay extremely clean despite living on the streets. And, carefree. You'd think being 2 chicks on the streets is just a fun, lovable time. Tim Curry, he's a radio DJ who just promotes these 2, chucking TVs off of high-rises.
Best montage in a long time
Absolutely.
that I've seen.
No, he takes them on as almost like just a personal interest story.
Yeah.
He does, but he has no repercussions. We've got these runaways. Well, one of the runaways is the daughter of a predominant
New York
councilman,
senator,
something in the politics, and she's working at a nightclub on stage. No one recognizes her, or nobody turns it in. And
Right.
I don't know.
The guy asks if she's 18, she says yes.
Yes,
and
Yeah, it
that's
says-
as much,
yeah, exactly.
as much as we need
It
to
was
know.
the early 80s, man. That's just kind
Later
of
on,
Yeah.
Tim Curry shows up to her. He's got a bottle of Stoli, knowing she's 16. They're just drinking on the bed. No
Yeah.
problems there. The end of it, I'm having a party in Times Square. Show up. Airs on the radio. No problems. Just
Hundreds of teenage
hundreds
girls
of
show
just in costume
with
and makeup.
TVs to destroy.
Despite her not being in this makeup until the previous shot. So
Yeah.
she was never aired with this eye makeup, but
Right.
all her fans are
Yeah.
wearing it.
I liked it a lot. I watched it today. I was a huge fan. I'd only seen it maybe when I was a kid on HBO, and I didn't really remember it a lot. So I think I remember telling you guys earlier that it reminded me of like the Adventures of Billie Jean, but like more with a punk rock slant in early like Times Square, which that I never got to visit that Times Square before, and it definitely looked like a dangerously good time.
That's like my Disneyland, Brent. If I had a time machine, I would use it to go to New York City in somewhere between like 1975 and 1983.
Sure.
And just
I
hang
get
out
it.
on
Yeah.
Sleaze Street
Yep,
all day.
absolutely.
Just long
All the
cigarette.
movies.
I would go and
Uh-huh.
see
Theaters.
all of the movies.
All the
Yep.
movies.
All of
Snuff.
them. Yep.
Psychiatric nurses.
You just mentioned Snuff, didn't you?
Yeah.
I did. Well, that was on the marquee in this movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's
They said it couldn't be seen.
what a coincidence, because next week you will be watching Tenement from Roberta Findlay, the co-director of Snuff.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so tell me about Tenement.
Tenement is so it's kind of the ancestor to those one location real time action movies that were big like a decade ago.
Death Wish.
The Raid. Well, I'm thinking like The Raid and Dread in
gotcha.
particular. Same thing. This is a 1985 movie. This is about some violent heroin, and people who do heroin usually aren't violent, by the way. But in this
so it's
movie,
heroin,
they-
not heroin.
no, some violent dopers who live in the basement of this tenement building, and one of the residents rats them out to the cops. And because the system is broken, they get out right away, and they come back for revenge, taking the building over one floor at a time. And doling out punishment to the residents who have to band together to fight off these guys. It's notable for being released with an X rating for violence, which almost never happened. Usually movies would just go unrated. This actually proudly flaunted its X, which was usually just reserved for porn. And
I was going to
don't
say, I
think
only
even
thought
it
that was
existed.
for...
Well, it's because no one wanted it.
But is it
so they would just
gratuitously
go-
bloody?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's another New York City, sleazy 80s New York City movie.
So, Brent, we didn't just ask you out here to, BS
Talk
and
about
have
Tenement?
fun. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we asked you to come out here because you've got an original graphic novel coming out.
I do.
And as a sideliner, that to me sounds like a big deal.
It does.
As a seasoned professional like you, it might just be everyday type thing.
You know, it isn't. This book is actually, I'm really excited about it. This is through Marvel and Scholastic. So one of their book collabs. We're the fifth book. They've done a couple Miles Morales books. They did a Spider-Gwen book. And this is the first one. It's Captain America during World War II. So it's kind of, if you think about Marvel or Captain America, the first Avenger, this is pretty much like a great companion to anybody who's seen that movie and really loves that Marvel movie. You don't have to really know any Marvel history other than Captain America and Bucky. And this is just an awesome, really middle grade adventure book. It's written by Alan Gratz, who is probably like the biggest name in middle grade books right now. He has 2 books on the New York Times bestseller list right now.
Awesome.
He just had one of his last book came out last month, went right to #1. And so, yeah, it's really awesome to be working with him. It was fun to do something all ages after working on Devil's Highway for about 2.5, 3 years, where every time my kids would like knock on my studio door, I had to like unlock it and hide anything that I was drawing because it was not appropriate for them. And
Right.
so yeah, to be able to have this was cool. Going back to your question about graphic novels, though, yeah, it is very weird to be working on something. This is 150 pages. And, obviously a traditional comic is about 20 pages. And you get about 4 to 5 weeks to do a 20-page comic book. You do it, maybe you get a little bit of time off. You do layouts for the next one. It's kind of nice that you have those little 4-week benchmarks that you're like, all right, I hit this issue, I hit this issue. This one we had 9 months to 10 months to do it, and there were more eyeballs on this. I had more editors on this book than I've ever had before. Usually there's like 1 or 2. There were 5 on this one, and Alan was a first-time comic book creator, so he needed to figure out the process too. So it was cool, but it was a challenge, and I'm really glad that I had it. And there's some really cool, I think, in the later chapters when the book comes out on January 3rd. The Maximoff family kind of plays a part in it, which is kind of cool. We get to kind of play with their family history, and so yeah, I'm I'm pretty excited about it.
Did he pitch this? Like, did Marvel come to him and say, "Hey, we want you to draw a graphic novel, or we want you to write a graphic novel"? Who would you
I
like
believe
to
Marvel
write
and
about?
Scholastic had him on their list of, because they kind of wanted to do it where they were pulling people from, that middle grade kind of novel.
I meant
world.
more like, did he choose Captain America,
yeah,
or did
yeah,
they? Okay,
perfectly.
so that was he
Yeah.
said, "I want to do Captain America."
His novel, he's got a couple novels that take place during World War II, so he's
that's
very
cool.
familiar with it, and so Captain America was like a no-brainer to do for a character for the stuff that he's kind of known for writing. So, and he's a big fan. So yeah, so it's his favorite character, I think.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, it's cool.
How'd you get involved in it?
Honestly, one day I got a text message from CB Cebulski, the Marvel's editor-in-chief, and he was like, "Hey, did your literary agent talk to you about this opportunity for the Captain America graphic novel?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, I sent him a message yesterday about it." And I was like, "I would have thought he got a hold of you." And my literary agent was just going over some specifics with the editor, so he was waiting before he could write me. So I got a text about it before I even knew what was going on, and I was like, "I want this."
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah. So.
Had you ever met Alan Grant?
I have not. We've Zoomed a few times, and then shortly after the book comes out in January, we're going on a little bit of a signing tour, so we'll be together. But that, we actually didn't even email a lot until about halfway through the book, so it's kind of weird. So
This other book you've got here,
Yeah.
Devil's Highway.
yes, this one, Volume 2, out in
Benjamin
stores
Percy.
now.
Mr. Benjamin Percy. wrote
Minnesota's
this.
own.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And you two are friends, correct?
Yeah. We text every day. We kind of BS with each other.
So is there can you tell me the difference between working on a project with a friend and someone you don't know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like dating a little bit, like it's the dating. You're kind of figuring each other out and what you like and what's appropriate to say. What there were a couple times in Alan's scripts which were great, I thought overall, but there were sometimes, when you're drawing a comic book, it's important not to have a character trying to do too many things in one panel. You can't really answer the phone, punch someone in the face, and tie your shoe. It just doesn't work. And there were a couple times where there were a few elements where he was trying to have a character do too many things. And I would just simply say, like, hey, we can just bump and add a panel that might work better. And he was very receptive to it and stuff, but you kind of have that weird, like, it was my first time telling him, there's something that I need to change.
Right.
And there's a little bit of that where with Ben, who I've known for, I think, 5-6 years now, when we work on Devil's Highway, we usually, before we get started on the project, we usually go have breakfast at a con, or we go for beers, and we just kind of talk about what we want to do in the book. There's so much of the book that I sort of suggested, but it wasn't exactly like, this is what I want, and he ran with it and stuff like
Sure.
that. So it's a little bit more collaborative in stuff. You feel like you get a say a little bit, and it's creator owned too. I mean, honestly, AWA has been awesome because they kind of just let me and Ben do our thing, and we kind of go do it, and we turn it in, and usually there's very little that gets changed with these books and stuff. And there's so much with the middle grade books that they're trying to appeal to librarians and they're trying to bookstores that, even though it takes place in World War II, you've got to avoid, there's not a lot of shooting and stuff like that. And Captain America probably uses his shield a little bit more to take people out instead of just actual physical punching.
Sure.
Which is actually kind of fun because, like, when you go back and you look at some of the Jack Kirby stuff, you're kind of amazed on how much he actually had Captain America doing more than just, I'm gonna sock the crap out of a Nazi.
Right.
He got creative with it.
Right.
So
So did you go back and review early Captain to get inspiration
absolutely.
for
Yep, I did because I wanted to go back and I looked at some of I actually bought a book that had a lot of the original Simon and Kirby books and stuff like that, like the early stuff before he came back in Avengers. And I pulled a lot from that. It was actually kind of cool. Like, I don't know if a lot of people will notice, but like in the original Cap, his wings are like ridiculously high, like almost
they
to the point
are.
where I'm like,
Yep.
how did they not get shot off or something like that? And so I kind of wanted to do my own version of that because so many guys now just draw them like slightly above the ears, and they try to make them not in the way and small as possible. And I was like, no, we're gonna do
the high, like the antenna
Yeah, we're
looking
gonna do obnoxious.
ones.
Yeah, we're gonna do obnoxious. And I didn't go super
clearly
crazy,
displayed
but
on the cover.
we didn't go super crazy on it. But yeah, I wanted to kind of honor that a little bit. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Nice. Brent, I think we're about running out of time. Is there anything else you would want to do? You brought in Devil's Highway. We barely talked about it.
That's okay.
When did that
Volume
hit?
2 just came out a couple weeks ago. It's not an all ages book. It's a
not.
crime, murder mystery book about the Midwest, and it's about truck drivers and revenge. And if you like stuff like Mindscape or Mindhunter and stuff, Silence of the Lambs, this is the book for you. If you like the Marvel Universe and classic, MCU, this is for you in January.
Don't confuse all ages with kids.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would say that.
It's safe for kids, but it's great for adults. It's all ages for a reason. It's not kids.
Any Captain America fan.
Yeah. I think the thing I was excited, because I grew up with like the Ron Lim era Captain America, and that's kind of exactly where this sort of fell in. It's like kind of got a little bit of that vibe that I really liked.
Fantastic.
But thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
Brent,
coming
thank
out,
you for
Brent. It was
coming.
great. And we have one more to give away. So the next person to smash that subscribe button will get it and a sweet pin that is
Nice.
still packaged. It will not be this on-air one. It will be a
Gently
packaged one.
used.
Right.
Brent,
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Michael,
Brent.
All right.
Joseph.
Playbook Studios, Hot Comics, fans,
Our wives.
random people stuck watching it with their fans. I appreciate you all, and stay tuned for next time, where I will be reviewing Tenement and comics to be announced.